must open the Gospel of Future, chapter 1, verse 2. From the streets did she emerge, into the street she will return, and the high priest, I say unto you, she is thy for thy streets. So be not wary when she must return from whence she came.
Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Making the Case. We on episode 213. I'm your host, Dr. Jacob Isom. We got two channels over here. One way to take punch in our people, then two, we don't do all the cussing, fucking, and derogatory stuff. We like to keep it professional. All right. As you see with the opening clip, we're talking about promiscuity. All right. And is that the new name of the game, right? Now, of course, when we talk about promiscuity, a lot of times we use other terms, right? That I'll try to kind of veer away from, because I want to actually have a serious conversation as much as we can, even though I started the video off like I did, right? But it appears that, with this new dating market, right? People are for sale. You know, we kind of understand that, right? Prostitution and indirect prostitution is at an all-time high. And for those of you who don't know what indirect prostitution is, it means that when you're willing to take financial pay or some other type of benefit in order to pretty much sell your service, right? A lot of women are doing this and they don't even realize it, right? Hence why I asked the question, is promiscuity just the new orders of day, right? Because things have become so transactional between men and women nowadays that I don't think that we understand how bad it's really can get it. And I always say, yes, things have always been transactional between people in general, right? We are a commerce-based society, particularly as we've seen how we've evolved through the Industrial Revolution, Agricultural Revolution, etc. Right? But now it has impacted dating to an extreme amount. Just the other day, I did a video, a short, on dating has been inflated, right? And what I mean by that is now women are expecting men to pay for babysitters, pay for Ubers, pay for this, pay for that, just to go out on a date, right? And of course, she could decide that she don't like you after that first date, but you just spend, you out $1,000, right? And of course, most men don't have that. So yes, dating had been inflated, all right? So this is what we've seen when it comes to just the sexual market in general, right? Women are thinking, okay, if I want to have sex with you, well, what am I gonna get out of it? Right? Now, we could talk about men being promiscuous, but we understand there's a double standard. It all holds the same weight because men really have to work for sex, like really, really hard. All right. So the conversation for this video is promiscuity just the new order of night? And are we just gonna have to adapt and evolve to it, right? Or can we try to reel things back in? Well, that's the conversation we all have, all right? Well, right now we're gonna get into our first clip. Let's do it.
Reasons why people are promiscuous. Number one, they have low self-esteem. And so it's a badge of honor to be able to get laid in some way, right? There's an objective sense of like, oh, I'm a better human being because I got laid. And so like your sense of self-worth gets determined by engaging in this behavior, right? Number two reason that people have sex is because they're afraid of being alone. Right. So if there's like abandonment fears, and this is what I really see in a lot of like my patients that I've worked with who've had sex and love addiction, that sex begins to mean additional things. I can't get people to love me. And in the past, when people have loved me, they've abandoned me or they've hurt me. but I've got one trump card I can play to get people to stay, right? Which is why your toxic ex is happy to put out when you guys haven't talked to each other for 6 months, because it's how y'all get fucking entangled again. Let's just run through top reasons why people are promiscuous. Number one, they.
All right. Now, let me say this, okay? Now, you could tell that, and no disrespect, because I've done a couple of different videos for, and I actually think he's a intelligent man, but notice that he didn't make a distinction between men and women, because we know there is a distinction between a man being promiscuous and a woman being promiscuous, right? I mean, just is what it is. Men and women are different, right? And how we move around in this world is different. Chemically, we're different. Now, even though there are, when we talk about a biological or more so chemical makeup, there are a lot of similarities, but we're different, right? But you can tell this is a young man who is not used to being that sexually involved with a lot of women. From him to say the first thing that he said, well, hey, and no shot. I'm just saying, right? For a man, in order to be sleeping with a lot of women, he has to have a lot of things going in his favor. Now, and he knows this, right? So you got to make the distinction if you're going to make a video like this, right? Now, I don't disagree with the points that he made, because he's absolutely right. People do use sex in that way, right? But just your average man and your average woman. Now, a woman who's being promiscuous, and it's so easy for her to do it, like, it's a lot of truth to what he's saying, right? But for a man, most men, like, it doesn't come that easy for them. That's why it's important to make this distinction. I'm surprised. That's a rookie mistake. He shouldn't have made that. I know he's a practicer, so it's a rookie mistake. All right, let's go on to the next video.
Promiscuous is a mental illness.
Wow.
I do. Why are you filling yourself up with all these different bodies, all these different spirits, all these different things? For what? That is a mental illness. What are you numbing? What are you hiding from? Why can't you be on your own? I think being promiscuous is a mental illness.
And
wow.
Notice that she did the same thing, right? She didn't make a distinction. So we had a man and a woman view, didn't make a distinction, right? And of course, I imagine the conversation got that way because she's interviewing Nick Cannon, which everybody knows Nick Cannon has a lot of children, right? Which is probably why he responded that way. But at the end of that, once again, I don't necessarily disagree. Like, there are people out there who are trying to seal a void and who are just trying to get it fixed. It's like, there's different reasons for why people are promiscuous, right? Now, it could be that a man gets a whole lot of money. He didn't get the attention when he didn't have the money, so now he's just making up a lot of time, right? That's a totally different context and a totally different scenario versus a man who's kind of always been attractive, always been popular, and now for 20, 30 years, he just can't stop. Now you're looking at addiction, right? Now you're looking at different having boys and different things of that nature, right? So we got to talk about context. Once again, we got to distinguish between men and women. I would say from the woman's perspective, it's definitely more so mental health. But then again, women are being paid. The outcome is working in their favor. So that's why a lot of women are promiscuous. So we got to have the conversation. Get into the next one.
Your mental illnesses, right? Like I think a lot of people that are very promiscuous, there's some sort of a lack of attention in their development cycle as they were young, like maybe lack of male attention that's leading them to desire constant and consistent male attention. There's people that have like severe...
Now, he didn't make a distinction between male and female, but clearly, indirectly, he talked about women because he mentioned their male attention. Right. Now, he could be talking about homosexual, but I'm pretty sure he's not. All right. So what he's saying is, yes, it also is a mental illness, just like the lady in the last clip was saying. It's because they're not giving the attention that they, when they was young, they wasn't receiving the attention. Right. Which that's a pretty interesting theory. And I imagine that there is something to say about that. You talking about childhood trauma. which essentially is probably what he's talking about. A lack of a father figure, lack of guidance from a male. But to be honest with you, most women get a lot of attention. And the distinction is they get a lot of sexual attention. And this may be what he's talking about, right? So from when a young girl starts developing, right, she get a lot of gaze and eyes from male outside the family, and unfortunately, sometimes even inside the family, right? So all that attention, and now, and what the young man was talking about in the first, that low self-esteem right now, like, wow, I like this attention, right? It doesn't matter how I'm getting it, even though it's more sexual perversion, right? But, you know, and then it kind of latch on to that. So, I mean, I try to get it, but at the end of the day, I'm going to hold on to the fact that, well, now it's just, it pays in order to, you know, sleep around, you know, for women. So, all right, I got one more clip and then we're going to wrap this up.
In Dubai, because the promiscuity in Dubai amongst men and women is the only city in the world where the women are far more promiscuous than the men. Far more, because what's happened to the women that come to rich cities is they come emotionally detached. They come with the idea that I want to meet a rich man. Now that woman is completely different to the woman that comes to a city and says, I want to fall in love and have kids. Now that emotionally detached woman who comes, I want a good life, is never emotionally invested. And here's the mistake a lot of rich men make. They seem to think that if they can support a girl and give her a good life, loyalty is a given. But what they're forgetting is a woman that craves a good life doesn't seek emotional intimacy. She seeks financial intimacy. Any woman who doesn't seek emotional intimacy is far more likely to stray. There's nowhere worse than Dubai because of—
There it is, right? It has everything to do with finances. Creating a lifestyle that a lot of women want. Now, majority of women want a certain type of lifestyle, right? Some women are just willing to do whatever, and that's sexually, in order to get that lifestyle, right? While other women can't bear to bring themselves, they would rather want it for, right? And it's no different than when you look at men, right? Some men will take penitentiary chances, they'll sell drugs, they'll scam and do all that stuff in order to get the money, while other men are willing to run for, right? It's the same thing, okay? But at the end of the day, the reason why the other two clips are saying that it is a mental illness because a woman, do you know how much a woman has to emotionally detach herself from reality, from herself, like in order to do the things that she do for money and to have a certain lifestyle? Man, like it's really saddening if you really think about it, right? But this is kind of where we are, right? And even for your average people, which is kind of what prompted this video in the first place, your average people are now kind of falling in the same tracks. And now they're saying, well, I need to be taken here, or, you know what? You might well just give me the money and we can go do whatever. Like, unfortunately, this is kind of what we've become when it comes to between men and women, right? And for a majority of us, we're still trying to hold on to more of traditional boy meets girl, girl likes boy. We're trying to hold on to that, right? But it's hard because the further that we get away from religious and traditional line of thinking, the more, secular and the more technology driven that we've become. I mean, this is kind of who we are right now. What can we do to reverse things? Find your tribe. I said it before. Find your tribe. Find your pocket. Find the people that, you relate to, people that share morals and values. And I'm not just talking about church. I'm talking about friend groups and, college campuses, things of that nature, right? Because it's hard out here, but, there's millions of people for us to engage with. And of course, you don't have to engage with them all. All right. Pick your few people and rock out like that. All right. Because if you're serious about finding somebody, you only have to find one. And that's the good news. All right. All right, we're going to end the video on that, man. Hopefully you appreciate the conversation. Hey, leave me a comment. What do you think? Do you agree? Have we come just this promiscuous society? All right. Let me know in the comments, man. Hey, like the video. Definitely share it, right? And we'll be back at you with another banger. All right. But as always, find you will leave. Love always, love return. Remember, the worst thing you do is lie to yourself. We out. Deuces. One love.
Failures, but I am not